Chosen one, hear this word with the deepest part of your spirit, for you stand at the crossroads of something monumental. This moment is not random, nor is it coincidental that you have found yourself here, listening to this message at precisely the right time. No, you have been handpicked, chosen with divine purpose. To receive this sacred instruction, heaven has orchestrated this moment, pulling you into its purpose with precision beyond your understanding. You did not simply stumble upon this moment by accident. You have been called. What you are about to hear is not the echo of ordinary words, nor is it the passing thought of a fleeting message. This is the voice of heaven breaking through the noise. A divine call, meant to awaken your soul to something far greater. It is a word that transcends the ordinary. It is a message from the very throne room of God, carefully crafted for this moment in time. Heaven has interrupted the rhythm of your life, not by chance, but by design. And now, in the stillness of this very moment, the Almighty speaks directly to you, not with a gentle whisper, but with an urgency that stirs the heavens. This is not a mere instruction. This is a divine command, a sacred pause, a clarion call to silence. You may have found yourself surrounded by a storm of voices, a cacophony of distractions, each vying for your attention. Perhaps the weight of confusion and the pressure of misunderstandings have been pushing you to speak, to defend yourself, to make your case heard. But in this moment, the voice of God speaks louder than any of those distractions. Hold your tongue, he commands. This is not the time to speak. You may wonder, why silence? Why now? It is because God, in his infinite wisdom, knows that there is a divine purpose unfolding in your life, one that requires you to stand still, not in passivity, but in divine readiness. This silence is not a punishment, but a strategic positioning, a way of guarding the gates of your destiny. In this sacred stillness, the Lord is preparing you, refining you, and aligning you with the higher purpose he has set for you. Your silence in this season is not a mark of weakness. It is a shield, a powerful weapon. It is a season of divine discipline, where your words hold the power to unlock or delay your breakthrough. Heaven is not asking for your silence, it is commanding it, because what is being built in you cannot be rushed. Just as a builder must wait for the foundation to settle before raising the walls, you too are in a season of preparation, a time for quiet growth, a time for strength to be forged in the fire of restraint. This is your moment, chosen one, to step into divine strategy. You have been given the sacred gift of time, a time to listen, a time to discern, a time to grow in the quiet. Do not waste this moment, for when the time is right, when God deems it so, your voice will carry the weight of heaven behind it. But for now, the heavens have set a guard over your lips, protecting you from the dangers of premature speech. The stillness is your preparation. The quietness is your training ground. Trust in this divine process. Know that the silence you are experiencing is not emptiness. It is the fertile soil where God is nurturing something far greater than you can yet see. As you hold your tongue, you are holding the very keys to your future. Heaven has spoken, and in this silence, you are being prepared for something far beyond what you could ever imagine. Chosen one, you are not here by chance. You are not listening to these words because fate led you here, or because you happened upon this message in passing. No, this moment has been appointed for you with prophetic precision. God has reached into the fabric of time and placed you in this very space, at this very moment, to receive a word that will change the trajectory of your life. Every second of your journey, every trial you have faced, every tear you've shed in silence, has led you to this divine intersection. This is not merely a moment of serendipity. This is divine timing at its finest. It is God himself who has orchestrated this very encounter. His hand is guiding you now, pulling you toward a deeper understanding of his purpose for your life. What you are hearing is not coincidence. It is the culmination of his plan for you, unfolding right before your eyes. You may not have seen it before, but now, in the stillness, you can begin to understand the profound truth. You were always meant to be here, in the grand weave of destiny. God's timing is always perfect. He moves in ways that defy our comprehension, positioning us exactly where we need to be, when we need to be there. In Proverbs 17:28, it is written, "Even a fool is considered wise when he holds his tongue." And what is the deeper truth behind this scripture? It is a revelation that speaks directly to you, chosen one. It teaches us that God's timing is greater than our impulsive reactions. The moments when we hold our tongue, when we choose silence in the face of pressure, are not moments of weakness but of divine wisdom. It is in those sacred pauses that God's hand works most powerfully in our lives. Reflect for a moment, chosen one. Think back to the times when you've remained silent, when your heart screamed to be heard. The times you have chosen peace over confrontation, restraint over retaliation. In those moments, God was watching. He saw your struggle. He felt your inner conflict. He saw you hold your tongue when everything within you wanted to lash out, to explain yourself, to defend your honor. And in those moments, He was preparing you for this very season of your life. You may have wondered, chosen one, why you've had to remain silent when others around you have spoken, when the world has encouraged you to fight for your voice. The answer lies in God's timing. He has not left you alone in your silence. He has been with you, refining your character, sharpening your discernment, and strengthening your spirit. You were not meant to speak too soon, for your words, when they come, will be imbued with divine authority. This is the season of preparation, a time of sacred silence, a time of divine calibration. Look back and see that in every moment of quiet, every time you chose not to respond in frustration, God was at work. His timing has been perfect, even when you couldn't see it. Each struggle, each instance of holding your tongue, was not in vain. You have been positioned for greatness, and your silence has been a part of that divine arrangement. This is not a moment to regret your past silence. This is a moment to celebrate it. God has seen every time you've been misunderstood, every time you've been mocked for holding back, every time you've chosen restraint when the world encouraged reaction. He has witnessed it all, and He is now telling you that it was never in vain. It was all part of His grand design, shaping you for what is to come. Your silence has been a powerful act of obedience. And now, God is about to reveal why He needed you to be still, to wait, to be refined in the quiet. For in that silence, He was preparing you for something far greater than you could have imagined. His divine timing is not just a concept, it is the very force that is shaping your destiny. And it is now, chosen one, that you are about to see the fullness of that purpose unfold. Chosen one, there is a battle being waged, a battle that may not be visible to the naked eye, but one that is intensely real and deeply personal. It is a battle of words. It is not fought with swords or shields, but with the power of speech, with the utterances of the tongue. You see, the enemy understands the power of words more than most. He knows that words can build or destroy, heal or wound, create or dismantle. And so, he uses them as weapons, aiming to provoke you, to bait you, to pull you into unnecessary conflict, stirring emotions that threaten to derail your divine purpose. This battle is subtle. It comes disguised as innocent conversations, as fleeting remarks, as comments that seem harmless at first. But beneath the surface lies a strategic assault against your peace, against your calling, and against your future. The enemy seeks to provoke you, to stir up your emotions, to get you to react in the heat of the moment. He wants to see you engaged in endless arguments that lead nowhere, drawn into battles that are not meant for you to fight. His goal is simple: to distract you, to pull you off course, to steal your focus and align it with the noise of the world rather than the still, quiet voice of God. How many times have you felt the tension rising? How many times has the pressure outside, the pressure of others' expectations, the pressure of misunderstandings, the pressure of accusations or insults felt overwhelming? And how many times has the inner tension within you, that stirring in your spirit, the urge to speak up, to defend yourself, to explain your side, grown stronger than ever? That pressure is not random. Chosen one. It is strategic warfare. The enemy knows that at this very moment, you are closer to your breakthrough than you have ever been. He sees the momentum building, the doors beginning to open, the calling that is beginning to unfold in your life. And so, in an attempt to delay your divine destiny, he uses words, his words and your own, to provoke you, to make you stumble, to pull you off the path God has set before you. Have you noticed, chosen one, how recently the voices around you seem louder, the distractions more enticing, the temptation to react, to speak your truth, to correct the misunderstandings, to put everything in its place, has become almost unbearable? This is not a coincidence. This is a battle that is being waged for your future. The enemy knows that the closer you get to fulfilling your destiny, the more crucial it becomes to guard your words. For your words, chosen one, are not just words. They carry weight. They carry power. They hold the potential to either propel you forward or pull you back. The pressure to speak, to explain, to react, to defend yourself, can feel like a pressure cooker about to burst. The world around you is demanding your voice, wanting you to react, to defend, to argue your case. Your flesh is crying out, say something, stand up for yourself. Don't let them walk all over you. But chosen one, this is the moment that heaven is calling you to silence. Not because you have nothing to say, but because your words are too precious to be wasted in battles that do not serve your purpose. This is not a time for reaction. This is a time for reflection. This is a time for divine restraint. It is a time to hear the voice of God above the noise of the world and trust that He is moving on your behalf. You see, silence is not about being muted. It is not about being passive or cowardly. It is not a sign of weakness. In fact, it is one of the most powerful forms of spiritual discipline. When you choose silence in the face of provocation, when you choose to withhold your words instead of engaging in fruitless arguments, you are not being silenced. You are being protected. You are being positioned. You are being promoted. The Lord has placed a guard over your lips. Chosen one, He has closed your mouth in this season to protect you from unnecessary battles, to protect you from unnecessary words that could sabotage your future. God knows that the wrong word spoken at the wrong time can derail a season, can open doors that should remain shut, can invite confusion and chaos into your life. And so, He is calling you to be silent, not to punish you, but to promote you. He is calling you to hold your tongue, not because He wants to stifle your voice, but because He wants to amplify it at the right moment. There is a time to speak, a time to declare, a time to testify. But that time is not now. Now is the time to be still, to let God work in the silence, to let your spirit align with His timing. The silence you are experiencing is a form of divine protection. It is God's way of shielding you from the enemy's schemes. The enemy knows how to bait you into speaking at the wrong time. He knows how to provoke you with words, with misunderstandings, with false accusations, to get you to react impulsively. He knows that if he can get you speaking before God tells you to speak, he can open a door to confusion, to frustration, to unnecessary conflict. But God is shielding you from that. He is closing your mouth, not because He wants to silence you, but because He wants to protect you. He is protecting your future, your calling, and your destiny by positioning you in this moment of stillness. You are not being overlooked. You are being prepared. In this season, chosen one, your silence is not absence. it is strategy. Your silence is not a void. It is a sacred space where God is working behind the scenes. There are rooms you are being prepared for, rooms where your voice will carry weight and authority. There are conversations you are not meant to have yet, because your words are not yet ready to carry the power of the next season. And so, heaven is quieting you, not to hold you back, but to position you for what is ahead. This is the moment to trust God's timing. He knows when the right moment will come for you to speak. He knows when the breakthrough will be revealed. And until that time, He is asking you to trust Him in the silence, to trust that He is working on your behalf. Even when you cannot see it, He is preparing you for the next level. He is sharpening your discernment, strengthening your resolve, and refining your character. And when the time is right, He will open your mouth, and your words will carry the weight of heaven behind them. So, chosen one, take heart. Your silence is not in vain. It is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of divine strength, divine strategy, and divine protection. It is a season of preparation, of positioning, of guarding your heart and your future with your words. The enemy may try to bait you, to provoke you, to pull you into unnecessary arguments, but you have been called to something greater. You have been called to walk in the authority of God's timing, trusting that He is working all things together for your good. Stay silent for now, chosen one, for in your silence, God is moving on your behalf, preparing the way for the victory that is coming. Chosen one, there is a profound strength hidden within your silence, a strength so powerful, it can change the course of your destiny. Silence is not the absence of power, but the very embodiment of it. It is a weapon that God has designed to protect you, to position you, and to propel you forward into the breakthrough He has prepared for you. In the spirit realm, silence becomes a shield, an impenetrable force that keeps the enemy at bay, rendering his attempts to provoke you, to draw you into conflict, powerless. Understand this. Silence is not a passive act. It is not a mere withholding of words. It is an active, intentional choice to align with God's divine strategy. In the heat of spiritual warfare, when every ounce of your being is screaming to react, to defend, to speak, your choice to remain silent becomes your greatest weapon. It is in that moment of restraint, when you choose not to engage with the chaos around you, that you are positioning yourself for something greater than any argument or defense could ever deliver. Silence, chosen one, is divine restraint, and divine restraint is the most powerful force you can wield. This silence is not about fear. It is not about passivity. It is not about backing down or shrinking away. Quite the opposite. It is about standing firm, rooted in the knowledge that the battle is not yours to fight. God has already fought it, and He has already won it. Your silence, chosen one, is a declaration of trust. You are trusting that God's timing is perfect, that His plans are flawless, and that your breakthrough is not dependent on your words but on His will. When you remain silent in the face of provocation, when you choose to hold your tongue in the middle of tension, you are engaging in warfare at a spiritual level. You are telling the enemy, I will not fight this battle with words. I will fight it with my trust in God's sovereignty. I will fight it by surrendering my will to His. Knowing that He is in control, every moment of silence becomes an act of obedience, an offering of your pride, your emotions, your need for control, and in doing so, you open the door for God to move in ways you could never imagine. Consider the powerful example of Jesus before Pilate, a moment that speaks volumes about the strength found in divine restraint. In Matthew 27:14, when Jesus stood before the Roman governor, accused of crimes He did not commit, He remained silent. But Jesus made no reply, not even to a single charge. To the great amazement of the governor, Pilate, in all his authority, was baffled. He had expected Jesus to defend himself, to argue his case, to fight for his innocence. But instead, Jesus chose silence. Why? Because Jesus understood something that we, too, must grasp. Not every battle is won with words. Some battles are won through restraint. Some are won by submitting to God's perfect timing. Jesus knew that his silence was part of God's plan. It was the bridge between crucifixion and resurrection. His restraint was not a sign of weakness, but a manifestation of his obedience to the Father's will. In your own life, chosen one, you are called to follow this example. There will be moments when the enemy will provoke you, when he will try to bait you into arguments, to pull you into disputes, to get you to defend yourself, when God has already declared your victory. It is in those moments that your silence becomes your greatest weapon. When you refuse to engage with the distractions, when you refuse to fight on the enemy's terms, you are stepping into a level of spiritual maturity that God is cultivating in you. This is why silence is a weapon. It is in those moments of stillness that God is doing the work behind the scenes. It is in those moments that He is aligning your future, preparing your heart, and building your character. God knows that there are battles ahead, and the weight of those battles will require a tongue that is disciplined, a heart that is steady, and a spirit that is in perfect alignment with His will. Your silence, chosen one, is not to punish you, but to prepare you. It is a strategy of the highest order. So, do not see your silence as a moment of weakness. See it for what it truly is: a spiritual weapon of divine authority. Wielded with wisdom, trust, and obedience, when you choose silence in the face of conflict, you are choosing the higher ground. You are choosing to partner with God's plan for your life, a plan that is unfolding perfectly, even in the stillness. And in that silence, you will find your greatest strength. Chosen one. In this season, the call to silence is not only a physical restraint, but a deeper spiritual one. A call to rein in the emotions that often drive us to speak too hastily, to react too quickly. The world around you is constantly trying to provoke you, to stir up emotions that would cause you to act out of alignment with God's will. But in this sacred moment, God is training you in the art of emotional restraint. He is teaching you that not every response deserves a reaction, and not every situation requires a defense. Emotional restraint is more than just holding back words. It's about mastering your emotions so that they do not control you. You see, chosen one, when we react emotionally, we risk allowing the enemy to lead us into battles that God never intended us to fight. Every time we give in to the urge to react, to fight back, to prove ourselves, to defend our honor, we step out of alignment with God's perfect plan. It is in the heat of these moments that emotional restraint becomes not just a choice, but a divine act of surrender. This is where discernment comes in. Not every battle you face is one that God has assigned to you. Not every conflict you encounter is meant to be engaged. The enemy knows your triggers. He knows how to bait you, how to get you riled up, how to pull you into unnecessary arguments. But you must be spiritually mature enough to discern which battles are assignments from God and which are distractions designed to derail you. The key to discernment is knowing when to step back, when to pause, and when to listen. The Spirit is always guiding us, but too often, we let our emotions drown out His voice. When we are quick to react, we fail to listen to the still small voice that says, "This is not your fight. Be still. I am handling it." Emotional restraint is learning to be slow to speak and quick to listen. Listening to the voice of God. Listening to the wisdom of the Spirit, and discerning which moments require your response and which ones require your silence. James 1:19 gives us this powerful reminder. My dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. These words are more than just advice. They are a divine instruction. They are a guide to spiritual maturity. To be quick to listen is to tune your ear to God's voice above all the noise. It is to listen with discernment, understanding when to step back and allow God to move in His perfect timing. To be slow to speak is to refuse to react out of emotion, to refuse to let your feelings dictate your words. And to be slow to anger is to understand that anger often leads to regret, and that the battles we fight in the heat of our emotions are often the ones that lead us astray. Chosen one, this is a season of deep spiritual growth. God is refining you, shaping you into someone who knows when to speak with authority and when to remain silent in trust. The emotional battles you've fought in the past, the moments where you've been baited into conflict, will no longer hold power over you. You are being trained to discern the difference between a divine assignment and a distracting provocation, and the more you practice restraint, the stronger you will become. In this moment, pause and reflect. What battles have you fought out of emotion? What conversations have you entered into without God's permission? What doors have you opened with your words that God never intended for you to walk through? Let this be a time of recalibration, a time of spiritual growth, where you allow the Spirit to guide your words and actions. Be slow to speak, quick to listen, and allow the wisdom of God to shape your responses. Because, chosen one, in this season, your silence will carry more weight than your words ever could, and in your restraint, God will fight on your behalf. Chosen one, there is an unparalleled power in quietness. In a world that is constantly noisy, where everyone is shouting for attention, where words are thrown around carelessly, and communication is frantic, the power of silence is often overlooked. But in this season of divine alignment, God is calling you to recognize the sacredness of silence and the profound impact it has on your journey. You are not in a waiting period. You are in a refining period, and it is in the quiet that God is preparing you for the future. Silence, chosen one, is not just the absence of words. It is the active presence of divine alignment. When you remain silent at the right moments, you align yourself with God's will in a way that words alone cannot. Think about it for a moment. God is not silent because He lacks something to say. He is silent because He is orchestrating a divine strategy that will unfold in due time. And in this silence, you are being called to do the same. The more you learn to hold your tongue in the moments when the world demands a response, the more you are aligning yourself with God's higher purpose for your life. Divine alignment is not passive. It is active obedience. When you choose silence, when you choose to restrain yourself from speaking at the wrong time, you are actively positioning yourself in God's perfect plan. You are saying, God, I trust your timing more than I trust my own understanding of this moment. In these moments of restraint, you are laying the foundation for something greater. You are stepping into a realm where your actions will speak louder than your words ever could. And in this divine alignment, your silence becomes a powerful weapon for your future. But this silence requires discipline. It requires spiritual obedience. It is not a silence born from fear, but a silence born from trust. Trust that God is working behind the scenes in ways you cannot yet see. Obedience is not always about what you do. Sometimes, it is about what you refrain from doing. And God is teaching you the power of restraining your natural impulses. When you want to defend yourself, when you want to rise up and speak your mind, silence teaches you the wisdom of waiting. Waiting for the right moment. Waiting for God's direction. Waiting for the right words to come from a place of divine authority. In these quiet moments, you are not just waiting, you are being prepared. The Bible tells us in Psalm 46:10, "Be still and know that I am God." This stillness is not just a passive pause in the action. It is a powerful act of surrender. It is in the quiet that God is doing His deepest work within you. It is in the silence that He is purifying your heart, refining your character, and preparing you for greater things ahead. Each moment of silence is like a crucible, where your impatience, your fears, your impulsive tendencies are burned away, and what remains is a heart that is fully aligned with God's purpose. This holy hush, chosen one, is not a punishment. It is preparation. It is the season of the unseen work. The behind-the-scenes refining that happens when no one is watching. Just as a seed must first be buried in the darkness of the soil before it can sprout into something beautiful, so too must you go through this season of quiet growth before you can rise into your full potential. This silence is shaping you, stretching you, molding you into a person who can carry the weight of the blessings that are coming your way. But what is this preparation for? It is for something greater. God is preparing you for a season where your voice will carry weight, where your words will shift atmospheres, and where your very presence will command attention. But before you can speak with authority, you must first learn the discipline of silence. Before God opens your mouth to declare His will on the earth, He will first close it to teach you His timing. The silence you are experiencing now is a sacred pause before your breakthrough. It is a season of cultivation where God is planting seeds in your heart that will grow into powerful declarations in the future. In this season, your quietness is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of obedience. Every moment you resist the urge to speak, every time you refrain from defending yourself or explaining your actions, you are participating in a divine process that is preparing you for greater influence. Your character is being refined in the silence. Your discernment is being sharpened. Your patience is being cultivated. And when the time comes, you will speak with a clarity and authority that can only come from a heart that has been refined in the quiet moments. God is making room for His voice to be heard through you. But first, He is teaching you how to wait for His timing. And in this waiting, He is shaping you into the vessel that can carry His message without distortion, without interference from the noise of the world. The world will try to tell you that silence is weakness. It will tell you that you must speak up, defend yourself, and explain your actions. But the truth is that silence in this season is strength. It is a strength that comes from knowing that God is working even when you cannot see it. It is the strength of a heart that trusts God more than it trusts its own understanding. And it is in this silence that you are being prepared for a future that will exceed your expectations. So, chosen one, embrace this sacred silence. Let it teach you the power of restraint. Let it deepen your trust in God's timing. Let it align you with His perfect will. For in the silence, God is doing more than you can imagine. And when the time comes, you will speak, and your words will carry the weight of heaven behind them. But until then, rest in the quiet, knowing that God is preparing you for something greater than you can comprehend. This is not a season of inactivity. It is a season of divine preparation. Trust the process, for it is leading you to a place where your silence will speak louder than words ever could. Chosen one. The weight of your words carries more significance than you may realize. We often think of words as fleeting, as mere expressions of thought. But in the kingdom of God, words have power. The Bible is clear. Life and death are in the power of the tongue. Proverbs 18:21. Every word you speak, whether in haste or with deliberation, has the potential to shape the future, and one careless word, spoken out of sync with God's will, can have consequences that reverberate far beyond what you might expect. Consider for a moment how easy it is to speak in frustration or defense. In a world that moves at lightning speed, with constant demands for responses and reactions, it feels almost unnatural to pause and silence your tongue. But let me tell you, chosen one, there is a high cost to carelessly spoken words, not just in the immediate fallout of relationships or misunderstandings, but in the spiritual realm as well. Words, once spoken, cannot be taken back. And in the unseen, they can have consequences that can delay or even derail the divine purpose on your life. This is why God, in His wisdom, has placed a guard over your lips in this season. He knows that if your words are not aligned with His timing and His will, they will create openings for the enemy to exploit. This is not about restricting you or muting your voice out of punishment. No, This is God protecting you, protecting the precious future that is being shaped within you, protecting the doors that are about to open, protecting the blessing that is on its way. Your silence is not weakness, it is divine protection, a covering over your destiny. To move ahead of God's timing, to speak out of turn, is to step into a space of spiritual danger. Your words carry weight in the spirit, and when they are not carefully weighed against the will of God, they can become like a force that pushes you away from His plan, rather than aligning you with it. A single moment of impatience, of speaking before you discern, can alter the course of your journey. This is not just a cautionary tale, but a divine lesson, one illustrated powerfully in the story of King Saul. In 1 Samuel 13:8-14, Saul, a king chosen by God to lead Israel, faced a pivotal moment where his future was on the line. The enemy was closing in, and the people were growing anxious. Samuel, the prophet, had instructed Saul to wait for him at Gilgal before offering a sacrifice. But as the days passed, Saul's impatience grew. The pressure mounted, and Saul's army was beginning to scatter. In a moment of fear and frustration, Saul decided to take matters into his own hands. He offered the sacrifice himself, disregarding the divine command to wait. It's easy to sympathize with Saul's predicament. After all, he was in a high-pressure situation. The enemy was at the door, and his troops were losing heart. But in his impatience, Saul acted before God's timing, and his careless decision had profound spiritual consequences. When Samuel arrived, he confronted Saul and delivered the heartbreaking word, "You have done a foolish thing. You have not kept the command the Lord your God gave you. If you had, He would have established your kingdom over Israel for all time. But now your kingdom will not endure." 1 Samuel 13:13-14. The story of Saul serves as a stark warning. The cost of his impulsive decision was not just a missed opportunity, it was the forfeiture of his destiny. God had set aside a future of greatness for Saul, but by stepping out of alignment with God's timing, he lost it. One moment of careless action, driven by fear and impatience, led to a spiritual delay that had lasting consequences for his reign and for Israel's future. And, chosen one, this same temptation is before you. The enemy would love nothing more than to bait you into speaking or acting out of turn, to make you feel like you need to justify yourself or defend your position. But that is a trap. God is not asking you to remain silent to suppress you. He is not trying to diminish your voice. He is trying to protect you. Your silence in this season is God's divine protection over your destiny. Every time you choose to hold your tongue, you are guarding your future. Every time you resist the urge to react emotionally or speak impulsively, you are securing a breakthrough that would have been lost had you acted prematurely. Saul's downfall came from speaking when he should have been still. The lesson is clear. Moving ahead of God's timing, no matter how justified you feel, can lead to unnecessary delays and spiritual setbacks. We live in a world where the pressure to speak, to act, to be heard is overwhelming, but God is calling you to a higher level of obedience, a deeper understanding of timing. He is calling you to wait, to be still, and to trust His divine process. It's not about being passive or avoiding confrontation. It's about understanding that there is a time to speak and a time to remain silent. Your silence is not a surrender. It is a strategy. It is a weapon of spiritual warfare that keeps you aligned with God's will and His perfect timing. One careless word, one moment of reaction before God's timing, can disrupt your spiritual trajectory. But if you learn to trust God's silence, to embrace the divine stillness, you will find that the enemy's tactics lose their power. No weapon formed against you can prosper if you remain in alignment with God's timing and trust His protection. Saul's regret was that he acted too soon. But chosen one, you are being called to wait, to listen, and to trust. When you do, God will open doors for you in ways that no one can deny. and your destiny will unfold in perfect harmony with His plan. So, hold fast to the power of restraint. When the enemy tries to provoke you, when the pressure to react feels unbearable, choose silence. Choose to wait for God's voice. Let Him be the one to fight your battles. The victory is not in your words, but in your willingness to trust God's timing. Let your silence today be the key that unlocks your future. And remember, your destiny is protected by the divine timing of God. Chosen one. In this sacred season of silence, you may find yourself feeling like the world is pressing in, and the noise around you grows louder with each passing day. The distractions, the demands for responses, the pressures of the world, they are all relentless. And yet, you remain quiet. You are not ignored, not forsaken, nor punished by this silence. Instead, you are being strategically prepared for something far greater than you can imagine. This silence, chosen one, is not a sign of your absence in the grand plan of God. It is evidence of His divine positioning. Heaven is not withholding your voice to diminish you. No, He is guarding you, shaping you, and aligning you for a future that is filled with divine authority and power. The stillness you are experiencing is not meant to suffocate your spirit. It is meant to elevate your purpose. It is in the quietness that God is refining you, transforming you, and preparing you to speak with weight, wisdom, and clarity when the time is right. Understand this, chosen one. Your silence today is not a sign of weakness. It is the quiet before the storm of divine breakthrough. Heaven is constructing something profound within you. There are things that can only be forged in the silence, in the secret place where God is working behind the scenes, shaping your character, sharpening your discernment, and fortifying your spirit. This is your season of preparation. In this stillness, God is building you up for what is to come, a future where your words will carry the authority to shift atmospheres, to open doors, and to bring about powerful change. Just as a seed must remain hidden in the soil before it can rise and bear fruit, so must you, in this season, remain quiet and allow God to prepare you for the fullness of your calling. Your silence is not an absence. It is a cocoon from which you will emerge stronger, wiser, and more equipped to carry the weight of what God has for you. In His perfect timing, He will release your voice, a voice that will speak with the authority of heaven behind it, a voice that will break chains, open hearts, and usher in His kingdom. But right now, you are being prepared in ways that are invisible to the world, but are eternally significant. Walk in quiet confidence, chosen one. This is not a time to worry, to wonder if God has forgotten you, or to doubt the divine work happening beneath the surface. Be still and know that the Master of the universe is at work, carefully crafting your future. Your confidence does not come from the noise around you, but from the assurance that God is doing something powerful in the hidden places of your heart and spirit. He is building a foundation of spiritual maturity, a stronghold that will hold you firm when the waves of life come crashing. Soon, you will speak. And when you do, it will not be from a place of uncertainty or reaction. It will come from a place of divine authority, clarity, and purpose. You will no longer be moved by the pressure of the world, nor will you speak out of frustration or confusion. Your words will be seasoned with wisdom, and when you declare something, it will be with the full backing of heaven. You will speak, not to be heard, but to shift destinies, to heal wounds, and to proclaim the victory of the Lord. So embrace this divine silence with faith and trust. Know that it is leading you to a future where your voice will not just be heard, but will carry the weight of God's glory. In the meantime, let your silence be your strength, your quietness, your weapon, and your trust in God's timing, your unwavering confidence, for in the season of silence, the glory that awaits you is being prepared. And when the moment arrives, you will speak with power, with purpose, and with divine authority that can never be silenced again. Chosen one. As you stand in this season of silence, let it be known to your spirit that every moment of quiet, every unspoken word, is being divinely orchestrated by the hand of God. This is not an accident. This is not a delay or a period of stagnation. No, this quietness is the very foundation upon which God is building something eternal in you. In the stillness, the Lord is shaping your character, strengthening your resolve, and preparing you for the powerful assignments that await you. You may not see it now, but every moment spent in this divine silence is another brushstroke in the masterpiece of your life. Just as a potter shapes clay, God is molding you in this time of quietness. He is refining your inner being, perfecting your spiritual discipline, and aligning your heart with His will. What feels like stillness is actually the deep work of transformation, where God is building your strength, sharpening your discernment, and positioning you to carry the weight of the calling He has placed on your life. It is in this silence that He is developing in you a depth of wisdom and authority that will speak louder than any words ever could. The world may be calling for your reaction, urging you to speak, to explain, to justify yourself, but heaven is asking for your stillness. For it is in this stillness that God is preparing you for something far greater than you can imagine. When the time comes, your voice will carry the weight of divine authority. Your words will break chains, bring healing, and declare God's glory in a way that cannot be denied. But for now, this season of silence is your preparation. Embrace it with gratitude, for God is doing something in you that will far exceed anything you could accomplish with your own words or efforts. It may not be easy. The pressure to speak, to react, to defend yourself may feel overwhelming at times. But remember, chosen one, you are not alone in this. God's hand is upon you, and His timing is perfect. Trust that He is moving behind the scenes, aligning every detail of your future. Your silence is not passive, it is active. It is a weapon in the spiritual battle, a shield that protects you from the enemy's distractions and attempts to derail your purpose. This is your season of training, a sacred pause where you are being prepared for the glorious future that lies ahead. Now, I invite you to surrender to this season of stillness. Let go of the urge to fill the silence with words or distractions. Instead, lean into God's presence, knowing that He is working in the quiet. Allow yourself to be molded, shaped, and refined by His hand. Trust in His process, for He is preparing you for moments of divine elevation that you cannot yet see. As you surrender to His timing, know that you are positioning yourself to walk in a power that only comes through this kind of obedience. Let this be your prayer of surrender. Chosen one, Father, I come before you in quietness, with a heart fully surrendered to your will. I acknowledge that this season of silence is not punishment, but preparation. I trust that you are working behind the scenes, aligning my heart, my mind, and my spirit with your perfect plan. I surrender my words, my reactions, and my need for control into your hands. Teach me to be still, to listen, and to wait for your timing. Give me the strength to embrace this season of training, knowing that you are equipping me for something far greater than I can imagine. Lord, I trust that in your silence, you are preparing me for moments of breakthrough and victory. I trust that when the time comes for me to speak, my words will carry your authority and your power. I surrender my need to defend myself, my need to be understood, and my need to explain myself to anyone but you. I trust that you see what I cannot, and that you are working on my behalf. Help me to walk in quiet confidence, knowing that I am not alone in this process. Guard my mouth, protect my heart, and help me to align with your perfect timing. When the enemy tries to provoke me, when the world demands my response, help me to remember that silence is not weakness. It is strength. It is obedience. It is faith. And in the silence, I trust that you are preparing me for something far greater than I could ever ask or imagine. Father, I submit my mouth to your mastery. I submit my words to your will. I trust in your process, and I trust in your timing. In Jesus' name, I pray, Amen. Chosen one. This is your moment to embrace the silence with faith and trust. Know that in the quiet, God is preparing you for the powerful moments to come. Your future is secure, and when the time comes for you to speak, your words will be powerful beyond measure. Until then, let the stillness work in you. Let it refine you, strengthen you, and prepare you for the divine breakthrough that is on its way. Your silence is not in vain. It is the very thing that will set the stage for God's glory to be revealed in your life.